Have you ever finished like a really awesome D&D session
Yeah.
and kind of wished you could just stay in that world for a little bit longer?
Oh, totally. Like, I actually remember one game, my character was a halfling rogue, and we stumbled on this hidden city that was, like, beneath the mountains.
Whoa.
And it was full of all these crazy creatures and forgotten magic, and it completely changed the direction of the campaign.
Wow.
It felt like we had stepped into a whole other part of the game world, you know?
Yeah, that feeling of like diving deeper into a world and finding hidden stories. That's kind of what we're going to explore today.
Cool.
We're going to look at some of the best D&D novels for fantasy fans.
Awesome.
And we're using this really cool article from LitRPG Reads as our guide.
Okay.
It's called Epic D&D Novels You Need to Read in 2025. Fantasy Lover's Guide.
Yeah, it is.
You know what's really neat about D&D novels is that they can offer something new even if you're a super experienced D&D player.
Oh, for sure.
They don't just retell the same stories or like recycle campaigns.
They take those core elements of D&D, like world building, character development, those high stakes adventures, and they turn those into stories that can stand on their own.
Totally.
Like, it become their own thing.
Exactly. And the article starts off by talking about classic D&D novels.
Okay.
And these are the books that kind of like Tolkien helped shape modern fantasy as we know it.
Right.
They introduce these really complex worlds, interesting characters and themes that still resonate with readers today.
Yeah, I can see that.
One of the most popular series from that category is R.A. Salvatore's Legend of Drizzt series.
Oh, yeah,
It
Drizzt.
follows Drizzt Do'Urden, who is a drow or a dark elf, and he decides to like totally reject the evil ways of his society.
Interesting.
And he chooses his own path.
I see.
A lot of readers are drawn to Drizzt's story because of his struggle with like who he is and who he wants to be.
Oh, yeah.
He's always like questioning his identity, his place in the world, and what it really means to be good.
It makes you think.
Definitely. And it's that internal conflict that makes Drizzt such a compelling character.
I agree.
He's not just your typical hero.
No, not at all.
He's not perfect. He makes mistakes, and he's constantly having to deal with these tough choices.
And that makes him feel more real.
Absolutely. And that's something that resonates with readers, whether they play D&D or not.
Makes sense.
The article also highlights another classic series, the Dragonlance Chronicles,
Oh, a classic.
by Margaret Weiss and Tracy Hickman.
Okay.
This trilogy takes us to the world of Krynn, where dragons rule the skies and the gods have a very direct influence on what happens.
Wow.
Yeah, and destiny plays a huge role in everything.
Sounds intense.
It is. And the series really captures that classic D&D feel
Yeah.
of this group of heroes who come together to face this massive threat.
I like that.
We have Candace Half-Elven, the conflicted leader, Flint Fireforge, the gruff dwarf,
Classic.
Tasselhoff Burfoot, the kender, who's like super curious,
Oh, yeah.
and then of course Caramon the warrior and his brother Raistlin the mage with a super mysterious past.
Sounds like a great party.
Oh, they are?
I bet they get into some trouble.
Oh, tons of trouble.
I can only imagine.
The Dragonlance Chronicles is known for those like really epic battles, and the lore is so intricate and the characters are so memorable.
Yeah, that's what makes a good series.
Each book, like Dragons of Autumn Twilight, Dragons of Winter Night, and finally Dragons of Spring Dawning, they all reveal more and more about the world of Krynn and push those characters to their absolute limits.
I can see why people love this series.
And what's interesting is how the series explores faith, destiny, and free will.
Oh, wow.
These characters are constantly questioning their beliefs and the choices they make.
That's a lot to think about.
And ultimately, they're trying to figure out their role in this grand scheme of things.
It's like they're on a journey of self-discovery.
Exactly.
Cool.
But the article doesn't just stop at those classic novels.
Okay, so there's more.
Yeah. It also highlights some recent and upcoming D&D novels,
Awesome.
showing us how this genre is always changing and evolving.
I like that.
These authors take those core elements of D&D and mix them with new perspectives and really interesting storytelling techniques.
So they're like pushing the boundaries.
Yeah, they are. And one that really stood out to me is Ravenloft, Heir of Strahd by Delilah S. Dawson.
Oh, I've heard of that one.
It's coming out in May 2025.
Okay.
And it takes us back to Ravenloft.
Ravenloft.
Yeah, which is one of the most beloved D&D settings, known for that gothic horror vibe.
Oh, yeah, it's creepy.
It is, and this book focuses on the legacy of Strahd von Zarovich, who is one of D&D's most iconic villains.
Oh, wow. So, like, what can we expect from Ravenloft for those who haven't been there before?
It's a realm that's shrouded in mists and shadows, and it's ruled by dark lords who are each trapped in their own domain.
Oh, no.
And they're cursed to relive their worst sins over and over again.
That's rough.
It is, so it's a perfect setting to explore themes of despair and redemption and how seductive power can really be.
I can see that.
And Dawson's novel is going to delve into Strahd's legacy and how it impacts those who are living in Ravenloft now.
Yeah. So it's a continuation of his story.
In a way, the article mentions it features familiar characters and some new faces.
Okay, cool.
And they're all caught up in Strahd's web of manipulation and terror.
Sounds intense.
It does. This novel seems like a great choice for those who love gothic horror with intriguing characters and a really atmospheric setting.
Yeah, I can see that.
And I'm super curious to see how Dawson tackles the morality of Ravenloft, where even the heroes can be tempted by the darkness.
It's a very gray area.
For sure.
Oh.
But on a lighter note, the article also features the Fallbacks, Dealing with Dragons,
Okay.
which is the second book in this comedic series set in the Forgotten Realms.
Oh, fun.
It's coming out in July 2025, and it's written by J. Lee Johnson, who is amazing at blending humor with those really heartfelt character moments.
Oh, I like that.
The Forgotten Realms is probably the most well-known D&D setting.
It is.
It's huge, filled with all these different cultures and dangerous creatures and endless possibilities for adventure.
It's like the ultimate D&D playground.
It is. And this series brings a lot of humor to that classic high fantasy setting.
I can appreciate that.
So the first book introduced us to the Fallbacks, who are this group of adventurers, but they're not the most competent.
Oh, no.
We're always getting into trouble making bad decisions and somehow managing to survive.
That's hilarious.
Oh, it is. It's like watching a D&D campaign where everything goes wrong in the funniest way possible.
Oh, I'd love to see that.
The article talks about how Johnson creates characters that are so relatable and funny.
Relatable and funny. That's a good combo.
They're flawed. They make us laugh.
Mm-hmm.
And you just can't help but root for them, even when they're making terrible choices.
You just gotta love them.
Exactly. And this second book, Dealing with Dragons, is going to explore their backstories and motivations even more,
Oh, cool.
while throwing them into even more ridiculous situations.
That's cute.
The article hints that they'll be facing, well, you guessed it, dragons.
Of course, dealing with dragons. It's all in the title.
Exactly. So if you're looking for a D&D novel that's not your typical epic fantasy, and you want something more lighthearted and funny,
Okay.
then this series might be perfect for you.
I'll check it out.
It's a reminder that D&D is ultimately a game,
Yeah.
and sometimes the best stories are the ones that don't take themselves too seriously.
I agree with that.
We can't talk about the world of D&D without mentioning Critical Role.
Oh, yeah. Critical Role, the phenomenon.
Exactly. It's this web series where a group of professional voice actors play D&D,
I've heard of it.
and it's gained such a massive following.
They have like a whole universe now.
They do comics, merchandise, and novels.
Wow. That's amazing.
It is. And the article dives into how those Critical Role novels offer a unique way to experience those campaigns,
Okay.
because they give you more insight into the characters, their backstories, and the world they live in.
So it's like getting bonus content for your favorite show.
Yeah, you get to go behind the scenes, see the characters' inner thoughts, and explore those moments that maybe weren't in the main campaign.
I love
One of the novels that stood out is Vox Machina, Kith and Kin by Marieke Nijkamp.
Okay.
It focuses on the backstory of Vexalia and Vaxildan, those twins from Vox Machina.
Oh, yeah. Those two are great.
They are. And fans of Critical Role know they have a very complex past.
Definitely.
And this novel is going to explore that history and reveal how their experiences shape them into the characters we see in the campaign.
Oh, that's so cool.
It's not just rehashing events we've already seen.
Right.
It goes deeper and explores their sibling bond, their individual struggles, and the choices that led them to become adventurers.
It's like we get to see a whole new side of them.
Exactly. It's a chance to see these beloved characters in a whole new light.
I can see why people would be drawn to that.
For those who are new to Critical Role, this novel could also be a great introduction to their world.
Oh, that's a good point.
While it focuses on these specific characters, it still captures that essence of Critical Role, that mix of action, humor, and those heartfelt character
I
moments.
bet it does.
Another Critical Role novel that caught my eye is The Mighty Nein, The Nine Eyes of Lucien by Madeleine Roux.
Oh, that one sounds interesting.
It focuses on Lucien, who is a complex and often misunderstood character from the Mighty Nein campaign.
Oh, right.
The story is one of ambition, power, and ultimately tragedy.
Oh, wow.
He starts out as just like a normal scholar,
Okay.
but he gets obsessed with unlocking forbidden knowledge, which leads him down this really dark path.
It happens?
This novel is going to delve into Lucien's motivations and explore the events that led to his transformation.
It's like getting into the mind of the villain.
Exactly. We get to see the world through his eyes and understand why he made the choices he did, even the ones that had devastating consequences.
There's a whole new perspective.
It is, and it's a fascinating approach because it lets us see him not just as a villain, but as a complex individual who is driven by desires and beliefs that, while maybe misguided, are still very human.
It makes you think about things differently.
Definitely, and it seems like more and more authors are being inspired by D&D, not just to adapt existing campaigns, but to create standalone stories that capture the spirit of the game while offering fresh perspectives and really unique narratives.
I think that's awesome.
Me too, and why not?
Yeah, exactly.
D&D has so much lore and so many amazing creatures and settings. It's like a playground for creative storytelling.
It is.
And these standalone novels are a great way for new readers to get a taste of D&D without feeling overwhelmed by all the existing canon.
Makes sense.
One of those novels is Tuskglove by Thea Guazan.
Okay.
It's coming out on July 1st, 2025. And it's super intriguing because it actually started as a fictional book within the Critical Role universe.
Oh, wow, really?
Yeah, and now it's a full-fledged novel.
That's so cool.
It's described as a blend of fantasy and romance, and it's set in a world where orcs, elves, and humans all live together.
Sounds interesting.
It focuses on this unlikely love story between two characters from very different backgrounds.
Yeah.
And they have to overcome societal prejudices and their own personal challenges to be together.
So it's like Romeo and Juliet, but with fantasy creatures?
Kinda. The article mentions it explores themes of identity and acceptance and the power of love to go beyond those boundaries.
I like that.
It also highlights the unique perspective it offers by showcasing a romance between characters who are typically seen as enemies in traditional fantasy.
It's like flipping the script.
Totally. And it's a testament to the power of storytelling and how a simple idea, even one from a fictional world, can spark the imagination and turn into something really special.
Absolutely.
I'm really interested to see how Guazan takes this concept from a fictional book within Critical Role and makes it a standalone novel that can captivate readers who aren't familiar with the source material.
It'll be interesting to see how it translates.
Definitely. And then we have Onyx Storm by Rebecca Yarros.
Okay.
It's the third book in the Empyrean series, which blends dragon lore with military fantasy.
Oh, cool.
It came out in January 2025. And this series is for those who love action-packed battles and that special bond between humans and dragons.
Dragons are always cool.
Oh, they are. And it's set in a world where dragon riders are these elite warriors who are fighting to protect their kingdom from this mysterious and deadly threat.
Sounds epic.
The article describes Onyx Storm as the culmination of the series' overarching narrative,
Okay.
bringing those characters' journeys to a head in this final climactic confrontation.
Oh, wow.
It promises those heart-pounding action scenes, emotional twists, and a resolution to the mysteries that have been building throughout the series.
I'm hooked already.
This series sounds like the perfect blend of those classic fantasy elements with a military twist.
Yeah, I like that combo.
I'm always drawn to stories that explore those dynamics between humans and these powerful creatures like dragons.
Well,
And the Empyrean series does that really well, showing both the majesty and the danger of these legendary creatures.
it's a good balance.
It is.
So like they're both beautiful and terrifying at the same time.
Ex-
It's amazing how D&D novels can just suck you right into their worlds, just like a good tabletop session, you know?
Yeah.
You really get invested in those characters and kingdoms and all the magic and the lore.
Totally. It's that depth and richness that keeps bringing people back to these stories.
Yeah, and these authors, they're so good at creating worlds that feel familiar but also completely unique.
Mhm.
Like take the Forgotten Realms, for example. It's a classic D&D setting that's been used in tons of novels.
Oh, yeah.
But each author finds a way to add their own spin to it, highlighting different parts of this huge world.
It's like revisiting your favorite vacation spot and discovering new trails and hidden waterfalls that you never knew existed.
Exactly, and the Forgotten Realms is so massive and diverse. From those bustling cities on the Sword Coast to the Underdark, it's like there's always something new to uncover.
For sure.
And then there's settings like Ravenloft with that creepy gothic horror atmosphere.
Oh, yeah.
It's a place where shadows literally whisper secrets, and it's hard to tell where sanity ends and madness begins.
Those Ravenloft novels are so good at capturing that mood.
Oh, yeah.
You can practically feel the chill in the air and hear those floorboards creaking in Castle Ravenloft.
Definitely. It's like a masterclass in creating dread and unease.
And we can't forget about Krynn, the world of the Dragonlance Chronicles.
Oh, yeah.
A place where Dragons have so much power, and the gods are directly involved in what happens.
There's something so timeless and epic about Dragonlance.
I agree.
Those battles are massive, the stakes are incredibly high, and you really connect with those characters.
Plus, the lore runs deep with prophecies and lost kingdoms and whole pantheon of gods and goddesses.
It's incredible how these D&D novels manage to appeal to such a wide audience.
I know, it's great.
You have people who are hardcore D&D players reading alongside those who just enjoy a good fantasy story.
I think that's one of the reasons why this genre is so successful.
It makes sense.
These novels offer something for everyone, whether you're looking for epic battles, complex characters, or those thought-provoking themes that stay with you long after you've finished the book.
It's true.
And we can't forget about the impact of D&D live streams like Critical Role.
Oh, yeah.
They've brought a whole new generation into D&D and fantasy storytelling.
Absolutely. And now with those campaigns being turned into novels, it creates this awesome connection between the game, the live streams, and the books.
It's amazing.
It really shows the power of storytelling and how those different mediums can work together.
You can watch the Critical Role crew play through a campaign and then dive into a novel that explores a specific character or event in more detail.
It adds so much depth to the experience.
And that's what makes these D&D novels so special.
Mm-hmm.
They provide a level of immersion that you don't always find in other fantasy books.
It's true. You're not just reading a story. You're stepping into a fully realized world.
A world that's been carefully crafted and filled with amazing detail.
And those details extend to the characters, too.
Oh, yeah.
These authors are so skilled at creating characters who feel real, relatable, and complex.
They have flaws, they make mistakes, and they grow over time.
You find yourself genuinely caring about them, even when they're making decisions that you might not agree with.
Yeah, and to me, that's the mark of a great writer.
Totally.
When you can create characters who feel like real people, you've truly captured what storytelling is all about.
And it's not just about the heroes either.
Right.
The villains in these D&D novels are often just as compelling.
They have their own motivations, backstories, and their own unique sense of morality.
They're not just evil for the sake of being evil.
Exactly.
They have reasons for what they do, whether it's a hunger for power, a desire for revenge, or even a twisted sense of justice.
And that's what makes them so dangerous and fascinating to read about.
One of the things I really appreciate about D&D novels is how they handle those complex themes in a way that's entertaining and makes you think.
Yeah, like what kind of themes?
You'll find stories that explore prejudice, social justice, the nature of good and evil, even the struggle for identity.
It's all woven into the story in a way that feels natural.
Exactly. They're not just added in as an afterthought. They're a crucial part of the narrative, and they force those characters to confront tough questions and make difficult choices.
It makes those books so engaging.
Totally.
They challenge you to think critically, to see things from different perspectives, and to question your own beliefs.
They take you to another world, but they also hold up a mirror to our own, making you reflect on the complexities of your own life.
In a world that can feel so chaotic and uncertain, that's a powerful thing.
For sure.
To escape into a story that both entertains and enlightens.
To find a world where there's still a sense of wonder and possibility.
It reminds us that even in the darkest of times, hope exists.
Absolutely.
There's always the potential for adventure, for connection, for overcoming those challenges.
And these are the kinds of stories that stay with you long after you finished reading.
They inspire you to be better, to fight for what you believe in, to never give up on the possibility of a brighter future.
And with the rise of D&D live streams, the adaptation of campaigns into novels, and the growing popularity of the game itself, it's clear that this genre is only going to get bigger.
It's an exciting time to be a D&D fan.
It is.
And I can't wait to see what the future holds for these stories and the talented authors who bring them to life.
There's a real hunger for these types of stories.
Definitely.
Stories that transport us to incredible worlds, introduce us to characters we won't forget, and challenge us to see the world differently.
And with the limitless potential of the D&D multiverse, there's no shortage of material for these authors to draw from.
Every new book is an opportunity to explore a different corner of this massive and constantly evolving world.
And what's really exciting is how these novels are pushing the boundaries of what fantasy can be.
Yeah.
We're seeing more diverse voices, more complex storylines, and more innovative world building.
It's like those authors are taking those classic D&D tropes and giving them a fresh new look.
They're blending them, twisting them, reimagining them in ways that feel unexpected.
I love that.
And that's what keeps the genre feeling so vibrant and alive.
Yeah, it's constantly evolving and pushing the boundaries.
It's always challenging what's possible, and that's what makes it so captivating.
Absolutely.
It reminds us that even in a world as established as D&D, there's always room for new stories, new perspectives, and new adventures.
Take Tusk Love, for instance.
Oh, yeah?
It blends romance and high fantasy and explores themes of identity and self-discovery.
It's a good reminder that even within those epic adventures and fantastical settings, there's also space for stories about love and loss and finding where you belong.
It shows that you can have those intense battles and world-changing quests alongside those quieter moments of character development and exploring relationships.
And that's what makes these D&D novels so appealing to so many different readers.
Yeah, there really is something for everyone.
And then you have books like Onyx Storm, which combine dragon lore with military strategy.
Oh, yeah.
Creates this epic scope that feels both grand and personal.
You get to experience those large-scale battles and political intrigue.
But it's all grounded in the journeys of those characters.
Their struggles, their sacrifices, their triumphs.
It's like reading a historical war epic, but with dragons and magic.
I'm into it.
And it's clear that these authors have done their homework,
Oh, yeah.
creating worlds that feel rooted in real-world history and mythology, while still embracing those fantasy elements that make D&D so captivating.
One of the coolest things about the D&D novel space is the sense of community that surrounds it.
Oh, absolutely.
You have online forums, fan art, cosplay, and those awesome communities built around live streams like Critical Role.
It's a shared passion for storytelling, for
Yeah.
adventure, and for the magic that D&D embodies.
Exactly, and it creates this incredible cycle where the fans inspire the creators and the creators inspire the fans.
It's really beautiful to see.
It's rare to see that kind of connection with a genre.
It is.
But with D&D, it's like you can feel it.
Mm-hmm.
It's the shared language, the shared mythology, the shared love for these amazing worlds and characters.
And that's why these D&D novels resonate so much with readers. They offer escape adventure and a sense of belonging.
They really do.
They take us to these worlds where anything is possible, where heroes rise to the occasion and where imagination is king.
It's a good reminder that no matter what's happening in the real world, there's always a place we can go to find hope and inspiration.
For sure, and wonder.
Absolutely.
So if you're looking for a good read, I highly recommend checking out some of the D&D novels we talked about today.
Yeah, you never know. You might just find your next favorite author or even a whole new world to lose yourself in.
And for even more suggestions, be sure to check out LitRPG Reads and the author Emily Thorne.
Oh, yeah. They're great resources for anyone who wants to explore this genre.
We always love to hear from you, so let us know what you think about these books or the genre in general.
Yeah, or anything else that's been on your mind lately.
Leave a comment down below and let's chat.
And if you're looking for something a little different,
Okay.
we think you might enjoy the works of Paul Bello.
Until next time, happy reading.